Breaking news tonight, a white nationalist rally turns deadly in Charlottesville. A car plows through a crowd of counter-protesters. The president now condemning that violence. Plus this.
Sounded like a freight train coming.
Tornado touches down in Fauquier County. Now we are under a severe thunderstorm watch.
Watch has brought us two different severe thunderstorm warnings, one out here closer to Leesburg and another one for Frederick and Montgomery County. Could see wind gusts up to 60 miles an hour and some large hail. I'll have more on that coming up in just a minute.
From ABC 7 News, this is a breaking news alert.
I'm Kimberly Suiters. Now to that breaking news in Charlottesville, Virginia. Chaos on the streets as clashes turned violent. One person was killed, 19 others hurt as a car guns it right into a crowd of people. Governor Terry McAuliffe and other officials are about to hold a news conference on today's events. Our Amy Aubert has been following this breaking news from the live desk. Amy, some very intense video and scenes down in Charlottesville.
Absolutely, Kimberly. And at this hour, the person who rammed the car through crowds of people in Charlottesville is in custody. A warning tonight because the video you are about to see is so graphic. Quiet college town of Charlottesville, Virginia turned into chaos. The protesters upset over the city's decision to remove a statue of Confederate General Robert E. Lee from a downtown park. When suddenly a car barreling down the street, ramming into counter-protesters, running them over. Others forced to jump out of the way. ABC's Eva Pilgrim was there.
You could see people laid out on the street, paramedics working on them, people wrapping up their legs.
Charlottesville Mayor Michael Signer saying in a statement, "I am heartbroken that a life has been lost here. I urge all people of goodwill, go home." Virginia's Governor Terry McAuliffe declaring a state of emergency. The crowd ordered to disperse.
You're to leave the area now, or you will be arrested.
President Trump condemning the violence, but urging both groups to set aside their differences.
This has been going on for a long, long time. It has no place in America. What is vital now is a swift restoration of law and order and the protection of innocent lives.
You will not replace us.
Today's rally after a Friday night march by white nationalists resulted in brawls with protesters countering the event. Reaction from Virginia's two senators tonight. Senator Mark Warner saying Virginians mourn the life taken, saying he condemns the intolerance behind it. Senator Tim Kaine tweeting, "People who came to Virginia to spew hate and incite violence have no place here." And we will continue to bring you the latest right here on ABC 7 News and online. At the live desk, Amy Aubert, ABC 7 News.
Staying with our top story for a moment, people all across social media were quick to condemn today's violence. President Trump also tweeted about the clashes, saying, quote, "We must all be united and condemn what hate stands for. There's no place for this kind of violence in America." And First Lady Melania Trump was the first to tweet reaction, saying, quote, "Our country encourages freedom of speech, but let's communicate without hate in our hearts. Hashtag Charlottesville." Vice President Mike Pence also tweeted he stands with POTUS against hate and violence. We are closely following the developments out of Charlottesville, and our Q McCrae is just minutes away from the scene there. He will have live reports tonight, and for updates anytime, just go to our website at WJLA.com. This just in, and more breaking news out of Charlottesville. Crews are on the scene of a helicopter crash west of the city. We're told the chopper went down in the woods near the Birdwood Golf Course. There's no word yet on injuries or fatalities. We will follow this story and bring you updates as soon as we get them. We are on storm watch tonight after violent weather rolled through our area last night. Now we're back under a severe thunderstorm watch. Meteorologist Josh Knight has a first look at your forecast. Josh, what can we expect tonight? It's so humid out there, it feels like something's coming.
Yes, exactly, Kimberly, and that's part of where we get the fuel for these thunderstorms. We got some sunshine today to heat things up, and that really destabilizes the atmosphere, kind of like priming the pump for us. So what happens, the Weather Service puts out this severe thunderstorm watch every everybody here in this pink color, and now 2 separate warnings. And in both of those, we could see wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour and some hail possibly in these storms as well. Just want to show you, this goes all the way up into New York. So it's a busy weather evening for a lot of the East Coast. But let's zoom into these 2 storms that we have right now. This line continuing to drop to the southeast, but you see these 2 bullseyes where we have a lot more lightning come together. Those storms intensifying rather quickly. So this one zoomed way in here for you. You can see Damascus part of this. Lisbon, as we work our way over toward Columbia, you can see that warning continues off to the southeast. This storm, once again, could pack some damaging wind gusts if you live in an area that has a lot of big old trees. These are the sort of things that often will come down in these sort of storms. So in that box, make sure you do take cover. Our second one has Leesburg there in the crosshairs, and I do want to time this one out for you, moving just at 20 miles per hour, so not too quickly, but what we'll have to watch for is Leesburg right around 6:33 for that storm to continue dropping off to the southeast. Now, anywhere on this line of storms, things are going to intensify quickly and can also fade out pretty quickly, so we'll have to watch these really closely. We also want to bring you some new video tonight out of Fauquier County, where the National Weather Service has confirmed an EF0 tornado touchdown in Broad Run yesterday. This is now the 3rd confirmed tornado in our area in a little less than 3 weeks. Ryan Hughes is on the scene now surveying the damage, and Ryan, more headed that way.
And rain is the last thing that anybody wants out here, Josh. This tornado was only on the ground for about 3 minutes, but it tore a path of destruction more than a mile long. And take a look at some of the damage that we've come across today. And look how close this tree came to almost landing on top of that home. Families tell me they had to take cover knowing this tornado was headed right towards them. Another week. Another round of wild weather.
Sounded like a freight train coming.
The National Weather Service confirming an EF0 tornado touched down in Broad Run Friday evening.
God was with us. That's the only thing that I can say.
The storm's heavy winds toppling trees and crushing cars on Beverly Mills Road.
Came right across the top right here and straight through the woods right there.
The twister narrowly missing Mike Haggie's home as he raced for cover.
I went up the street and got up under a bridge. The tornado came by and it just kept lifting the rear end of the truck up as it came by.
We opened the front door and there was literally a river in front of our front door.
Judy Fisher's backyard is torn apart. 75-mile-per-hour winds flipped furniture and ripped the roots out from under this tree. Families in Haymarket are also cleaning up Mother Nature's mess. Chainsaws are ripping through branches after trees came crashing down on homes and into yards. The heavy rains causing major flooding outside the Manassas Regional Airport. Now, crews are out restoring power, and Fisher is counting her blessings this tree did not crush her home.
It would have demolished the house. It would have probably injured us. So we're just very, very grateful and thankful.
And back out here live, power has been restored to this neighborhood. That happened about an hour ago, but you heard Josh, more damaging winds could be headed this way later this evening. Now, the good news in all of this, there have been no reports of any injuries. We are live tonight in Broad Run, Fauquier County. Ryan Hughes, ABC 7 News.
All right, an inconvenience because of last night's rain. It forced the Nats to postpone their game against the Giants. It's rescheduled as a day-night doubleheader tomorrow. Game 1 is at 1:05, but people with tickets to last night's game can use them for Game 2 tomorrow night at 7:05. When severe weather strikes, stay connected with the ABC 7 weather team. Sign up for text alerts, download the Stormwatch 7 weather app, and follow us on Facebook and Twitter for instant forecast updates. We have new information to tell you about tonight in that case of the 17-year-old girl who was shot in the head while sitting in her car in Northeast. The suspect is 21-year-old Philip McDaniel. He was in court today and held without bond. Police say the victim was simply caught in the crossfire Thursday afternoon at Montana and Saratoga Avenues. The teen is still in critical condition tonight, fighting for her life.
Heartsick, heartbroken, you name it. It's like my own child. Here she was, about to go to college.
Right now, detectives are still looking for 2 more people connected to that crime. Japan has deployed Patriot missiles in the western part of their country. Japan says the move gives it the very best chance of shooting down missiles launched from North Korea. If North Korea follows through on its threat to fire on Guam, the missiles would fly directly over Japan, and Tokyo fears those missiles could accidentally land on Japanese territory and its people. Coming up on ABC 7 News at 6, we continue to follow breaking news in Charlottesville. A white nationalist rally turns deadly. We are awaiting a press conference right now. We will bring it to you live when it happens. Coming up. Plus, a shocking scene at a daycare, a worker's actions that got her fired, and the video that has one mother enraged. Returning to our breaking news and our top story this evening, you're looking at a podium here. This is live in Charlottesville. We're awaiting the Charlottesville Police Chief, Al Thomas, to update us on the situation down in Albemarle County, where earlier today there were alt-right groups who were protesting the potential removal of a Robert E. Lee statue, and you had opposing groups who call the other group racist. They got into clashes. There was a driver who you can see smashed into another car. That led to one person's death. More than a dozen people were injured in the scuttle there and the car crash. A very intense scene in Charlottesville. We have heard from the president condemning this violence in Charlottesville. We have also heard from Governor Terry McAuliffe of Virginia also condemning this violence. The mayor of Charlottesville saying he is heartbroken over what's happened in his city there. Our Q McCrae is down in Charlottesville this evening. We'll be getting updates from him throughout the evening. We have live team coverage of this story. Our Amy Aubert is monitoring events from the live desk here in the newsroom. All right, any moment now, we are expected to get underway with this press conference to hear the very latest. We do understand the driver of that silver car you see racing away backward is in custody tonight.
Go, 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 go.
And we will continue monitoring events in Charlottesville as they happen tonight. You can get alerted to breaking news whenever it happens. Just sign up to get text alerts on news like this at WJLA.com/text. A daycare worker in Nevada caught on camera tossing a 5-year-old child. That employee has since been fired, but take a closer look at this surveillance video. The mother says her daughter was playing, the girls started bickering, and that's when the worker literally and aggressively removes her daughter. She starts to walk away, but immediately turns back around, this time tossing the child several feet.
You just can't even believe that this is what you just saw that had happened to your child that you weren't even notified about.
The mom says her child bit her tongue, but is okay. Police are investigating that incident. We are monitoring events down in Charlottesville. We'll bring you those when we come back after this. Breaking news right now in Arlington to tell you about. Fire and police crews were called to the AMC Theater and Courthouse for the report of violence. What that violence is, we don't exactly know. Police have tweeted the 2 victims are being treated and police are securing the building there. Again, this is at Courthouse in Arlington. We have a crew on the way there and we'll bring you an update as soon as we learn more. Right now, we're going to switch gears and talk about our weather because we've got some alerts coming down. Very busy night. What's the latest, Josh?
Yes, it is. We're watching as this line of thunderstorms comes together and just little parts of it strengthen and intensify really quickly, and that's where we get these warnings. So we're part of the severe thunderstorm watch through 11 o'clock, but now it's just pinpointing those more extreme parts of the line. Let me show you what's going on. We'll start off here with a picture for you from Rockville, and that's where we do have some dark clouds as we're getting ready for thunderstorms to track that direction. So keeping an eye on this system again as this line of storms works its way across a lot of the eastern part of the country. Here we can see that yellow box. You have to look closely, but this is where we have our severe thunderstorm watch dropping down into southern Maryland all the way up into New York for things to evolve again along that line. This is thanks to a cold front coming through. So it sets us up for a nice Sunday, but we have to deal with this first. And what we are looking at here are 2 different severe thunderstorm warnings. And I do want to stress this one here a little bit farther north as we get into northern Montgomery County, Carroll County, and Frederick County. That one the Weather Service continues to say tornado possible with the thunderstorm. So not a tornado warning, but a stronger storm and a little bit of rotation within that storm. So keeping a close eye on that one. And again, our other severe thunderstorm warning, this one here that extends down into Leesburg. So two rather strong storms for us. We'll zoom in a little bit closer and you can see here a lot of lightning with these, and this one continuing to drop off to the southeast, both of them moving at around 20 miles per hour. So throughout the rest of the evening, we hang on to this watch. Really want to make sure it's a great night. Have the Storm Watch 7 weather app. You'll be able to track these things on your phone. If a warning does come down for your area, you'll be notified right away. Even just if lightning starts to show up in your area, it'll tell you right away. So hanging on to that chance through 11 o'clock, but around D.C., I think we're predominantly done with that storm threat around 8 or 9. After that, we are going to look for drier weather to take over. Here it is on Futurecast. You can track this with me as we go throughout the rest of the evening. A lot of these stronger storms look like they may favor areas off to the east side of D.C. And then a little bit later, here we are at 9:30, still hanging on closer to Fredericksburg and into southern Maryland. Now, as we fast forward into tomorrow morning, we'll start off with a little bit of cloud cover, but we're going to see lower humidity tomorrow and ultimately should see more sunshine. I think your Sunday shaping up to be a nice one. Just have to get through the wet weather tonight. So hanging on to that storm chance again until around midnight. Temperature spread was in the 60s for us. Then as we work our way into tomorrow, we'll see those numbers work their way up to about the mid 80s. Much better day for you. Temperatures starting off close to 70 for D.C. and then warming up throughout the day. Now we do have a little bit of a cool down here for the beginning of the work week, but then heading into the back end of the week as we get toward Thursday, Friday, we'll bring in a better chance for some thunderstorms and also a better chance for temperatures closer to 90 degrees. So our string of cooler than normal days may be coming to an end later this week. See a chance for a few showers on Tuesday and then a better chance for some thunderstorms. We head into the end of the week, and now officially again on that 10-day forecast, your partial solar eclipse around D.C. next Monday.
Josh, thank you. We want to return now to a second breaking news story, this one out of Charlottesville, where Virginia State Police are on the scene of a helicopter crash. This is just west of the city near the Birdwood Golf Course, about a mile from the campus of the University of Virginia. 2 people died when the chopper went down around 5 this evening. No one on the ground was hurt. The National Transportation Safety Board is investigating. We'll bring you the latest on that breaking news story as it happens. We'll be right back with sports.
In addition to many individuals who have been hurt. But let me start off first by thanking all of our law enforcement officials. This could have been a much worse day today. I want to thank our local law enforcement individuals. I want to thank the first responders. I want to thank all the state police, to the National Guard, and everybody else who was involved in today's activities. We planned for a long time for today's incidents. I also want to give a special thank you to the clergy who are here today, who helped us on the streets. I also want to thank those courageous UVA college students yesterday who last evening surrounded the statue of Thomas Jefferson to protect that statue. And I have a message to all the white supremacists and the Nazis who came into Charlottesville today. Our message is plain and simple. Go home. You are not wanted in this great Commonwealth. Shame on you. You pretend that you're patriots, but you are anything but a patriot. You want to talk about patriots, talk about Thomas Jefferson and George Washington, who brought our country together. You think about the patriots today, the young men and women who are wearing the cloth of our country. Somewhere around the globe, they are putting their life in danger. They're patriots. You are not. You came here today to hurt people. And you did hurt people. But my message is clear. We are stronger than you. You have made our Commonwealth stronger. You will not succeed. There is no place for you here. There is no place for you in America. We work here today to bring people together, to unify folks. I remind you all that we are a nation of immigrants. Unless you're Native American, the first ships that came to Jamestown, Virginia in 1607. And since that time, many people have come to our great country to unite us. Our diversity, that mosaic tile of immigrants, is what makes us so special. And we will not let anybody come here and destroy it. So please go home and never come back. Take your hatred and take your bigotry. There is no place. And if I could give you a piece of advice, use your time and energy to help people. Come with me to a homeless shelter. Come with me to help a veteran find a job or a place to live. That's what we need help on, to bring people together. I spoke to the president this afternoon, and we had a conversation, and I told the president that there has got to be a movement in this country to bring people together. The hatred and rhetoric that has gone on and has intensified over the last couple months is dividing this great nation. We need to work together. I told the president that twice. I'd be willing to work with you if we can work together to bring people together. But stop the hate speech, stop the rhetoric in this country. We have got to bring people together. But we are a great Commonwealth, and we are a great nation. And we are even stronger today because of those actions of those people who came with their bigotry and hatred. I'd now like to introduce the mayor of the city of Charlottesville, Michael Signer.
Thank you, Governor. This is one of the world's truly great cities. We have been the home of a lot of history. We have overcome a lot in our democracy. We've overcome McCarthyism, we've overcome segregation, and we're going to overcome this. This tide of hatred and of intolerance and of bigotry that has come to us and that has marched down with torches the lawn of one of the founders of democracy, it is brought here by outsiders, and it's brought here by people who belong in the trash heap of history with these ideas. They're going to be in the trash heap of history. This day will not define us. We will define this day by the story that we continue to tell tomorrow and the tomorrow after that, the week after that, and the year after that. There is a very sad and regrettable coarseness in our politics that we've all seen too much of today. Our opponents have become our enemies. Debate has become intimidation. What democracy is about, and we know this here because we're the birthplace of democracy, it's about deliberation, it's about action, it's about progress, it's about working together, and it's about, at the end of the day, if you disagree with somebody, you don't try to take them down, you agree to move forward. These folks do not want that. They do not agree with the rules of democracy, and they are on the losing side of history. The work of rebuilding, of healing, is just beginning today. Tomorrow will come, and we will emerge, I can promise you, stronger than ever. With that, I also want to thank the state government. I want to thank Governor McAuliffe, Secretary Moran for all their help. My colleagues on the council, all four of them are here today. I want to thank the Charlottesville Police Department and their law enforcement partners from around the state protecting their residents. Visitors today at the University of Virginia, I want to say that our hearts break for the casualties and the injuries that have suffered today, and our prayers are going out right now. And please send your prayers to these folks and their families and their loved ones. Thank you very much. With that, I'm going to turn it over to our city manager, Maurice Jones, I believe. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Hate came to our town today in a way that we had feared, but we had never really let ourselves imagine it would. I wanted to start today by thanking the Virginia State Police and our law enforcement officers and all the first responders who are here in Charlottesville today to protect our community. The Charlottesville Police Department and our state partners and the Virginia State Police were on the scene in our community very early this morning, anticipating large crowds. Our law enforcement was on hand before 10 o'clock this morning, actually began around 6 o'clock this morning. And unfortunately, as we went through this day, we had folks who came here to cause mayhem and chaos and mischief, and it resulted in three fatalities here in the city of Charlottesville. In the days and the weeks to come, our city will have many conversations in City Hall, in community centers, in our houses of worship, over our fences, and at our dinner tables. I would ask that, in addition to sharing our grief and looking back at this difficult and extraordinary summer, that we look forward. I would ask that we would consider the question of who we are as a city and who we wish to be. I would ask that we each seek opportunities to seek people who share our home here in Charlottesville, but who are outside of our circles. I would ask that we work to build meaningful relationships and foster strong connections. City Hall will be working with the community to rebuild our structures and repair damages. And we will also work to provide opportunities for our community to come together to mourn, connect, and move forward. But City Hall cannot build the bonds between neighbors or create new friendships. I'm calling on each one of our residents, not only here in the city of Charlottesville, but in the Charlottesville area, to come together and take all of this into our hearts and our daily lives today, and to begin healing as a community. If we all come together, we cannot fall apart. We will be with you, and we will be beside you, as together we write the next chapter in Charlottesville's history. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Chief Al Thomas, Charlottesville Police Department. Good evening. The premeditated violence that our community experienced today was completely unacceptable. The situation escalated rapidly into violence, and we had no choice but to deploy additional personnel from the Virginia State Police, the Virginia National Guard, to help disperse the crowd and move people safely through the streets. None of the injuries sustained today were due to engagement with law enforcement. As of late this afternoon, there have been at least 35 people treated for injuries by city personnel. 14 people have been treated for injuries resulting from individual engagements. 9 pedestrians were treated for injuries in a 3-vehicle crash at the intersection of 4th Street and Water Street here in downtown Charlottesville. Their injuries range from life-threatening to minor. The crash also claimed the life of a 32-year-old female pedestrian at the intersection as she was crossing the street. We are still in the process of notifying her next of kin, so we will not be releasing her information until that takes place, as a courtesy to the family. The suspect vehicle that left the scene of the crash was located moments later, and the male driver is in custody with charges pending. We are currently treating this as a criminal homicide investigation. I also want to extend my appreciation to the many individuals who witnessed the crash for helping us by providing statements, photos, and video evidence. Again, the crash remains under investigation. So where do we go from here? For right now, we're encouraging people to return home. Please let our city of Charlottesville, our home, start to recover from this. What the world saw today is not the place Charlottesville is. We love our city. Let us heal. This is not our story. Outsiders do not tell our story. We will tell our own story. As is commonplace, we will be reviewing the events of the day over the next weeks and months. We are committed to providing our residents with a strong, safe city to live in and being partners in our community. Thank you.
Governor, we have
they were killed after the alt-right
You've been listening to a live press conference down in Charlottesville after one person died when a car plowed into a crowd during clashes. We just heard the police chief update the numbers of people injured, 35 people injured in those clashes. He also said that a 32-year-old woman who was crossing the street was the one who died when cars rammed into the crowd. This is breaking news out of Charlottesville, where the mayor had said a tide of hatred, intolerance, and bigotry will not be tolerated. And Virginia Governor Terry McAuliffe said, no uncertain terms, Nazis go home. That was our first breaking news story. Now more on that second breaking news story out of Charlottesville tonight, where Virginia State Police are on the scene of a helicopter crash. This is just west of the city, about a mile from the campus of UVA near the Birdwood Golf Course. 2 people died when the chopper went down around 5 this afternoon. No one on the ground was hurt. The NTSB is investigating. We'll bring you updates as we get them. Finally, one more breaking news story before we go. In Arlington, fire and police crews called to the AMC Theater and Courthouse for a report of violence. Our Amy O'Bear is live there on the scene. Amy, what can you tell us?
Well, Kimberly, we are just outside of that theater right now. I want you to take a look right over here. This is the scene that we're seeing right now. In the past, I want to say 5 to 10 minutes, a lot of those fire trucks have actually pulled out. The latest that we know, the Arlington County Fire Department tweeting out that 2 patients were taken to the hospital and that the scene out here is secure. Now, a lot of the information that we have is very preliminary. Earlier tonight, they tweeted out that they, along with Arlington police, were on scene out here at the AMC theaters. They were treating 2 victims. They also were saying that police were securing the building. Again, at this point, the building is secure. All we know is that 2 victims were taken to the hospital. For now, we're live in Arlington. Amy O'Bear, ABC 7 News.
You can count on ABC 7 crews to update you on these 3 major breaking news stories tonight at 11 o'clock. Right now, we're going to join World News Tonight in progress.